Hi everyone, Greg here. A few years ago I've managed to achieve financial independence. That didn't go so well at the beginning, maybe in the first 20 years. So today I want to share with you all the big mistakes that I've made in my financial life and what could have been bigger mistakes and that could have prevented me from achieving financial independence. As there are many mistakes that I've made, today we will cover the first 5 and next week we'll cover the last 5. And don't worry, if you follow the tips that I actually give for every mistake that I made, you will be well on your way to not make the same mistakes as I do and achieve financial independence faster than you think. So let's start my walk of shame. For mistake number 1, let's start with a fun one. When I was a student, I wanted to get rich fast, so what I thought was, well, why not play the lottery, I mean, if you get to win, then it's gonna be very quick. The chances of winning the lottery vary, but I can tell you one thing for sure, it's a little bit like the casino, except that it's worse. You have much less chance to actually ever win. Do you know what the best way to win the lottery? Well, don't play the lottery. Take the money that you want to spend for the lottery and put it aside. Save the money. Just don't spend it on the lottery. And even better, invest it. And keep in mind that playing the lottery is actually the riskiest way of spending your money because most likely you will never get a return. So considering the riskiest thing to do, just put it in some risky stuff if you want, Bitcoin or any things that you feel is really risky. In the picture on the screen, you see the impact there is in having spent 5 years of lottery ticket between the years 20 to 25 in your life, and basically what that can actually grow if you would get an 8% return on investment, which is the average of what the US stock market has done over the past 100 years. And that is the power of compound interest. That is the biggest force in the universe, as Einstein say, and can get you a lot of money at the end of that period of time that you see there. Big mistake number 2 is basically not counting my money. That's otherwise known as the head in the sand strategy. Now, when I was a student, again, I very much wanted to have fun, go out, spend my money on a lot of things. And I didn't really want to face the consequences of all of this, so one thing that I was always doing was not to look at my bank statement. So not counting the money that I was spending and at the same time really living above my means, you can understand that, well, it doesn't have a very pretty conclusion. So I went through a lot of stressful moments about cards being cancelled, banker calling me, before I actually started to get my act together. Make a budget. Start to count the money that you spend and compare it with what you have budgeted so you know where you are and where you're heading. That is all that it takes to have your head and your finances firmly above ground. I made a video that talks actually about how to build a budget that works towards happiness and your life goals, so please check it out here or in the description of the video below. Mistake number 3, not understanding anything about money and trusting others. You might have noticed that there is one topic that we never learn in school, and that's about personal finances. In most countries, there is virtually no education about personal finance or investing. The result is that we start our earning lives without having really a clue about how to make a budget, count our costs, and save money. So that was very much the case for me when I started to earn enough to save money. I started to have some money in my bank account, and then I said, okay, I'm going to trust some people to manage it. And that's when I made my first mistake, with people coming to me and me trusting them, because I'm a trusting guy, and putting my money with people who actually were mostly crooks. So on my first investment with that first crook, I basically ended up with a pension fund which effectively was blocked for 25 years and giving me extremely poor returns with about 4% of cost of managing the account per year. So my biggest problem here was that one, I was too trusting, and the second thing was that I just didn't know enough about everything related to finance, therefore people could tell me anything. With hindsight, it's quite clear that we all need to do our homework. We need to be looking at what people are telling us about, we need to cross-check it, we need to progressively build the learning background around the people that we can trust about everything which has to do with personal finance. If you know nothing about personal finance, there's a good book that I recommend, which is in the video descriptions, that is perfect for personal finance beginners. If you like this walk of shame so far, please do hit the like button and subscribe if you want to hear more about content like this. Mistake number 4 is about believing stuff that was too good to be true. That's a mistake I've made many times, whether it's been the latest crypto fad, or it's been a single company that I wanted to invest in, or some funds that somebody was recommending. There are plenty of examples of me following something that sounded really good and was really too good to be true. And guess what? Well, I lost some significant amount of money on some of them, particularly on one that I remember very fondly. So if someone is proposing to you something which is going to give you 25% return per year, or anything which is really sounding like, man, this is so much better than anything else, then it probably is too good to be true. So do a proper due diligence of everything that you come across, and if you do not have time to do this due diligence, then walk away. Better passing up some potentially wonderful investments than invest in things that you don't truly understand. Mistake number 5 is investing according to my feelings. I love learning about new investment, about new products out there, and there is a complete world of new things which is always coming every day, every year that we can invest in. And I like to take some risk, and sometimes, I would invest in some of them, and some of them would be based on just that gut feeling, or based on FOMO, fear of missing out, or some friend recommending something even if I should not necessarily trust them. And then I would make the typical mistake of buying something because it was going higher, so you buy at a high price, and then panicking when it would go down, and then you sell at a low price. Have a plan. Do not ever trust yourself and your feeling about making investment and money decision. Our brain is a biological machine which was made for the savannah. It's not made for high frequency trading. Have a budget, monitor your expenses, make sure that you spend what you have in the budget and not more. Save money, have a plan for your investment and stick to it. And listen to your emotions. If you feel that you're taking a decision while in an emotive state, stop, breathe, go meditate, think about it, talk to other people, and just find a way of releasing the emotions before you decide. All of this is about the psychology that we have towards money, and there is a great book that I recommend, which is in the description of the video. Part 1 of the walk of shame is over. I hope it was both fun and useful for you to learn about those mistakes. And the moral of the story is that making those mistakes is actually important as long as they are small. You learn from them and then you move on. Despite those mistakes, I still managed to achieve financial independence in my 40s. So do practice those tips every day and you will get progressively better with your money. And stay tuned for part 2 of the walk of shame next week with the last 5 big mistakes in money that I've made in my life. And remember, be the special agent of your life. Take control. See you in the field, special agents.